He does. Number one, he has documentary evidence. Number two, if you think about it, no one would ever be convicted in a criminal court in this country practically unless juries came to believe people who in the past had been liars, because who knows about crimes that were committed? It's criminals, right, who were involved in those crimes, who lied about them and who were found out and who then told the truth. That's kind of how testimony in court, in criminal courts, works, at least. And in this case, it's working in this way. Michael Cohen was a loyal soldier. Donald Trump's fixer, a true believer. He is no longer that. He is quite the opposite. His eyes are open. He has years worth of eyewitness observation and listening to Donald Trump, and he's going to tell us about it. I think it's going to be compelling. I'm also fascinated. Maybe at some point we'll learn what he told the Senate committee yesterday, because afterwards Senator Warner issued a very careful statement, essentially saying, I think this is one of the most important things, or the most important thing I will have done in my public life. That caught my ear, and I wonder if he went much further there than he will go today.
I think what's also illuminating in there, there's going to be a thread throughout, and that I've always pushed him on all along, like, Michael, you knew what you were doing. Michael, how could you work for this guy? Michael, this guy is... And what you see as he goes through it is you kind of understand the arc of, yes, well, here's why he did this, and here's why he did this, and very caught in the light. And he says a lot of positive things about Donald Trump also, you know, and because it doesn't make sense if they're not positive things. Otherwise, why are you following this guy? Yeah. And I think Michael Cohen is the ultimate symbol of basically somebody who trusted Donald Trump and is paying the ultimate price, and a lot of this country is doing that at the same time.
That doesn't work out for people.
On that credibility question, Michael Cohen, in his statement that we've received at NBC News, he says, the last time I appeared before Congress, I came to protect Mr. Trump. Today, I'm here to tell the truth about Mr. Trump, perhaps explaining the lies he told last time he was there. In addition to the allegations that Cohen makes about WikiLeaks, about the president's knowledge of the Trump Tower meeting and others, there's some personal stuff in here. The testimony will offer what he says is a private view of President Trump's thoughts on race. Cohen is expected to say that Trump, quote, once asked me if I could name a country run by a black person that wasn't an S-hole. This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. Cohen goes on, while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. And he told me that black people would never vote for him because they were too stupid. And yet I continued to work for him. Cohen also reportedly going to reveal his efforts to conceal Donald Trump's education records after the president claimed for years that he graduated first in his class from Wharton. Cohen plans to say, I'm talking about a man who declares himself brilliant, but directed me to threaten his high school, his colleges, and the college board to never release his grades or his SAT scores. I'm giving the committee today copies of a letter I sent at Mr. Trump's direction threatening these schools with civil and criminal actions if Mr. Trump's grades or SAT scores were ever disclosed without his permission. The irony wasn't lost on me at the time that Mr. Trump in 2011 had strongly criticized President Obama for not releasing his grades after calling President Obama, quote, a terrible student. Let's bring in White House correspondent for PBS NewsHour, Yamiche Alcindor. Yamiche, you've had a chance, like the rest of us, to look at Michael Cohen's opening statement that he'll deliver starting at 10 o'clock Eastern time before the House Oversight Committee. What are your takeaways so far as you've combed through that?
My takeaway on it is that Michael Cohen is really trying to deconstruct the facade and the character that President Trump has sold to the American people. He's saying that President Trump is a con artist, that he's lied about everything from knowing about Trump Tower, the Trump Tower deal that was going on to get a Trump Tower in Moscow during the presidential campaign, to also that now infamous meeting between Don Jr. and in Trump Tower where he was trying to get intel on Hillary Clinton's He was also painting this idea that he understood and knew that Roger Stone was in contact with WikiLeaks and got a heads up before the DNC emails were leaked. And what I see in Michael Cohen is someone who's trying to, at least in his own mind, try to atone for what he sees as a decade of working for someone who was not only, as in his mind, a racist, but also someone who was trying to use his political campaign as an infomercial. I think the thing that struck me most here, thinking about the fact that now President Trump is president, is the fact that Michael Cohen says that the president said this is going to be a great political commercial. Everything that I'm doing is not about serving the American people. It's not about eventually becoming president. It's all in service to my business and to my image.
Yeah. So in just moments, we're waiting now to get some live pictures from Hanoi, Vietnam, where the president will be having dinner with Kim Jong-un.